Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you?
Yes.
Okay. I was hoping Tommy would be here too, because this is for Keith and Tommy. Prison is a huge network, and yet it is such a small place. And as we are charged with change for not only ourselves, but also fostering this change in other people, we plant seeds in hope to water them ourselves. But then people transfer, people go their different ways, go home. Some parole, some are still in prison. I've been in Donovan for 4 months, and I have a guy down the tier who's preparing for board. And I got to know him a little bit. We've had conversations, and we're talking about how this change comes about, how we went from these individuals who committed the crimes to come to prison, and how we change in prison. And through this conversation, I've got to know this man, and he didn't have a cellie for 10 years. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes with that of why you don't have a cellie for 10 years. And Keith, I'm speaking to you because this man is Paul Ott, and he was tested by putting a cellie in there for the first time. And as we were having this conversation, he said, and I didn't mention your name or anything to him about what we're doing or that I know you. And he says, if it wasn't for Keith Erickson and Tommy Traver to put me on the path that I am on today, I don't know if I would have passed that test for having a cellie that they were testing me with. And it was just so profound and just made my heart melt. And when I told him, I said, you know, Keith Erickson is a very good friend of mine, and so is Tommy Traver. He just looked at me and he says, that man, those two individuals are the true character of change. Those are the...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And as we speak tonight, and as we hear from Correll and Ramon, and always Keith, these changes that we are charged with, this is a seed that I live down the tier from, that Keith had planted, watered, and the man that this man is today is because of what you do, Keith, and that's why we do what we do, not only for ourselves, but we hope to foster that change in other individuals. And so it works. And unbeknownst to me, I got to see your work down the road, Keith. So I thank you for everything that you do. It's my pleasure to be your friend. You do amazing things to people that I don't know if you realize how much you affect their lives down the road. So thank you. Thank you for allowing me into your life, Keith. And Tommy, I wish he was here to hear that. So thank you, gentlemen. I want to get this show on the road. Keith, you're extraordinary. You've opened your heart, your life to me, and I appreciate you. And I love you. Thank you, everybody. And let's get this show on the road.
Okay, now that he made me cry.
I'm glad I'm not the only one, Jamie.
Honey,
That's pretty cool.
right, you too. And poor Mark, she's wearing makeup today.
And I knew about it. I knew about this.
Were you able to hear that, babe?
Yeah, he knew of it. He heard.
Aww.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that. That's what matters is that we help. Everybody we help is just they're able to pass it on to other people, and that's the beauty of the networking and beauty of just having an impact.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
That's pretty awesome.
Well, you know, you're pretty awesome. You're such an amazing person, Keith.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I don't know whose name. I don't know the guy's name who he said, but that's pretty cool.
Who's the name that he said?
His name is Otter.
Otter?
Oh yeah, I know Otter.
Yeah, Otter.
I do. Yeah, I mentored him. I had him in my peer leadership program. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I will let you guys talk. Yeah. I gotta run into make sure that my kids don't end up bald in the hairdresser place. But you guys have a good show, and I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, Paul Ott.
Yep. All right, so let's get started. So, Keith, do you want to do the introductions or?
Yeah, yeah, I just want to open up. I didn't want to open up with anything narration like I did last time. Unfortunately, we had to put this off for 2 weeks due to the phone complications with tablets, but we are excited to continue. I want tonight to be more focused on Ramon and Correll and Josh. So I hope you guys, during the last couple of weeks, you guys, kind of went over and thought about things that you want to share with us. Tonight, I want to focus on the change, the impact that you guys have had on the yard over there.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Some of your support system.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So you guys have the floor tonight. And then any additional...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Feel free to ask your questions. Hopefully we can get to a lot of them tonight. That's it. This is Keith Harrison from Pleasant Valley State Prison. Mama Marge.
Mama Marge. Welcome, everyone. So we're going to let Correll and Ramon take it away. So you guys, you can get started.
All right, Correll, why don't you go ahead and lead off and
Correll, you have the floor.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Correll Thompson here at Donovan State Prison. My story, as I told it a couple of weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, it is my story. It's not an excuse. It's my, hey, the person that I was.
Is he able to speak up a little bit more?
Correll, could you speak up a little more?
Well, absolutely.
Good.
The person that I was prior to coming to prison, was basically a product of the environment in there that I grew up in, the lifestyle, negativity, and there's no real mentor in sight, no real way of knowing. I just gravitated to the streets, and like I said before, and at 22 and a half years old.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I got arrested, came to prison, went through a trial and a penalty phase trial and got sentenced to death, convicted of multiple murders. And quickly arriving at San Quentin State Prison on death row, I had to figure some things out. I had to learn how to do prison time while protecting myself at the same time. So for many years, even in prison, I was caught up with, learning the ins and outs of prison and all that kind of stuff. And, being shackled up and escorted everywhere I had to go, stripped naked, before being shackled up and all that stuff. That was a part of, that experience. And during those times and having to go through those things, it just made me more angrier, and there was a moment when, I believed in fighting the system, rebelling.
You have 60 seconds remaining
in prison. But, over time in dealing with myself and sitting in a cell by myself for more than 21 hours a day, there came a time after losing family members, losing friends, and finding myself in a cell by myself, sentenced to death, I had to make a change. So my change started on death row. My change started prior to leaving death row and being allowed allowed to transfer to another prison.
This is Global Telly. You have a prepaid call from.
One of the biggest things I remember about turning that corner and starting to work on myself was, you know, I'm sitting in a cell by myself late at night washing my laundry in a bucket. I'm washing my boxers and T-shirts and socks in a bucket. And it just really hit me that these people really want to kill me. They really want to kill me. And so I look around and I see, you know, the different mentalities of the individuals on death row and the things that they were doing. I knew that I didn't want to engage in those activities. You have individuals who were still, you know, gang banging, or, you know, individuals that, you know, cutting corners and just.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Staying in trouble. And at some point, I felt the need to dig within myself and figure out a way to get to know myself, to understand myself, and change. I needed to change. So that's where it started with me. And reading and writing helped me out to start this change. But also, I was going to church on death row. We would meet up in a holding cage, and the chaplain would come in, and you know, we would have service. They would pray for us, and the next thing I did was I got active in abolition work. You know, I became a member of the campaign to end the death penalty.
He'll be calling us right back.
I think we lost him, but I want to go ahead and move on in here. I mirror quite a bit on what Correll is saying. I myself was up there for many years, just trying to acclimate to the environment and just to get used to this prison system to begin with, because that's just something that I've never been in prison before. So it was a learning experience, and sometimes we take years of trying to find our way, trying to find the people that we should be dealing with, associating with, and then after a while a light bulb pops on and says, you know, this is not the life for me. Unfortunately, death row doesn't have all of the self-help groups and the jobs and other.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Things that you can do to get your mind off of the fact that you know, the state wants to execute us. So it's just really tough on the psyche. And after a while,
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
if you want to better yourself or continue to go down the rabbit hole with some of the other guys, and so that's how I started to make the change myself too. It's just that I made a decision that I needed to make a change and not be like everyone else there. So, you know, I got into reading books, got into writing, got into going to church myself, and got into a better group of people. And it just
Correll, he just bounced off of when you left. He just picked up, so he's gone now.
Oh yeah. So, you know, and like he was saying, it's pretty much the same thing. And it matters. It matters. Decisions matter. You know, one wrong decision can be the difference between life and death, even on death row. You know, I mean, like any other prison, you know, there's violence, you know, and you have to actively be seeking a better way. But not knowing that, you know, it's easy to get caught up in
in the negativity and the things that go on in those type of environments. I am I'm blessed to be in the position that I'm in today. You know, clearly a different person, and like I said before, being arrested at 22 and a half years old, 29 years ago, I don't think the same. I don't do the same thing today. I don't even hang around no one doing negative. You know, one of my sayings is, if I think that you're doing something that'll get you caught up or arrested or locked up, I definitely don't want to have nothing to do with you. You know, self-help has been, you know, we didn't have self-help on death row. You know, we were put in a cell, like I said, 21 plus hours a day. And the plan was that at some point, you know, they were going to take us to a chamber, strap us down, inject our, you know, veins with poison into our heart stop. They were planning to murder us. And even though I'm here at Donovan State Prison or a correctional facility, I'm still on death row, just not housed on death row. So here, you know, like Centinela, I went to Centinela State Prison when I came off death row. I really got active in self-help. You know, I was hungry for self-help once I got a taste of it. And the funny part about it, and I always tell people, there was a time when I was on death row and I used to see the self-help classes on the TV, and I used to say, I'm never going to sit down in a circle of individuals and tell my life story. You know, I'll never embarrass myself in front of a bunch of people that I don't know. You know, I will never give them an opportunity to have ammunition against me, you know, to use to hurt me. You know, that's how I thought. But, you know, once I did it, once I got active in those classes, I mean, it was like a relief. And the change had already started in me, but it continued to go on a more positive and more positive track. And it led me to be who I am today and how I am today. A much better person, a more sincere person, and I love myself today.
That's amazing. And you told me the story.
It's that finding that safe, like you. I used to say the same thing to myself as far as the self-help groups go. You know, doing 13 years of the shoe and then coming out here. It took me years before I even wanted to be involved in any self-help group, because my biggest thing was that vulnerability could, you know, eventually be used against me. I didn't want that to be perceived as what I thought would be a weakness, but I know that, you know, it's like you guys.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Other men on the row, and then having church services. I think once you feel that sense of safety in that room amongst the men, and once you know that you can share something, and you just know in your heart that it's a safe place, I think that's where the seeds start to be cultivated and that growth starts to happen, where you start wanting it not just for yourself, but you also want it for other people. Because once you find that, you know, that sense of internal freedom, and you start rediscovering what it feels like, that you could feel so beautiful in a place so dark, you want that for other people, and you start having that empathy towards other people. You see people suffering just like we once were, and you know, you can't help but want that for other people. And, you know, before you know, you're hitting the ground running, and you're advocating for, not just for the, you know, the stopping of the executions, but also just that personal growth. Because I know you guys are out on the line now, but, like, have you seen people that came with you that had a total different mindset on the road, that were, like, you know, still caught up in the negativity and the violence, and basically have them to acclimate to that surroundings of how they thought they were supposed to be, and then once they hit the line with you guys, did you see changes in people that were like that you knew that they were feeling that comfortability of being out there and having access to those self-help groups? You know, just the access alone. Did you guys see changes?
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
That totally contradicted.
You know, it's funny you say that.
Up there on the road.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say that because we left San Quentin on July 12th of 2021.
Yeah.
And when we made it to Centinela, that was the first place we went to after the overnight and after dropping people off at different prisons and overnight at Corcoran. We went to Centinela. That's where we were going to be for a while. And,
yeah,
you know, the reception there from a lot of the inmates they were afraid of us. The officers were afraid of us. You know, and that went to a few of these guys' heads. You know, and I remember one of the guys got at me and he was saying, like, you ready for this takeover? We finna take this over. And I told him,
yeah.
I said, man, I'm going home, bro. You know, I'm going home. I'm not interested in taking over nothing. You know, I've been locked up for so long. You know, it's time to make that move. You know, to blend in and go home. You know, and that was my decision once I hit there.
Yeah.
And I've been on that. I see guys today that, you know, still cutting corners and
yeah,
still doing things, you know, the same old things that they were doing, and that's what's in them. You know, and when I come across individuals like that and those particular guys, I just leave them alone. You know, because everybody figures it out on their own time. And if you're not focused, it's not going to be your time. You know, at some point, you have to realize that even though we have this high heel, and even though these people want to murder us, you know, you still have to do good. If for no other reason, for yourself and the people that care about you. You know, and if it's not for yourself, do it for someone else. You know, and with us being on death row for as long as we're armed with a plethora of information that we can share with these youngsters today that's coming in and out of the prison system. I mean, I'm seeing things here, and when I travel back to the county jail for, you know, court, I'm seeing things that I can't believe.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a whole nother story. And so I understand now, you know, that I need to be a part of this solution and help others, because there's a lot of people that need help. Even though I need help, you know, I need help. I'm not afraid to admit today that I need help. I wouldn't have admitted that, you know, when I first entered, you know, prison and went to death row. I wouldn't have admitted that. You know, I was still raw from the street, mad, you know, frustrated, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, I got with myself. I had to get with myself because I had no one else. You know, and there came a time, and there's always a time when you're going to have to deal with yourself, you know, whether it's now or later. It's better to do it now than do it later.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like what you said about the guy saying, are you ready to take this place over? I remember getting out of the SHU and going to level 4, 180 in Kern Valley, and then, you know, being ready to make that change, like just being fed up with everything that I've seen around me. I was no longer a gang member. I no longer wanted to go back to the SHU. But I've seen these guys doing the same things on these S&Y yards that we were doing.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
And we went to Ironwood. I had been good for a few years, and I got an override to level 3, so we went to Ironwood. And we went with a busload of guys that were going for overrides for positive behavior to level 3. And we had that mindset. We were like, man, are you ready to take this over? But in a way, like, man, are you ready to bring to this yard like all the positive stuff that we've been doing? Because we were fresh on this journey of like Gogi, alternatives to violence, like all these positive things. We were like wanting to take it over in a way that's gonna flood this yard with things for people to do, you know, in a positive nature. Like that's the beauty of that transformation, is you know you have the power, like you said, to be part of the solution instead of the problem, and you get this fire. And then once you surround yourself, you know, you talk about, you know, seeing guys cutting corners and excluding yourself from them.
Oh, Keith will call us back, everyone.
Okay.
So I do have a question, Ramon. I do have a question for either one of you. Someone asked before we start getting so many, so we'll ask the one. Would your outlook in life be different if you weren't incarcerated?
I think the incarceration has changed my outlook on life.
This is Global Telly. You have a prepaid call from.
It has opened my eyes because being down on death row for so many.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Almost 30 years, you start to.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Get a real sense of reality and what's important and what's not. So being down that long, it changes your perspective, and you appreciate the small things and things that people take for granted, and you realize what is not important and what is important, because some things that people make a big deal out of, it really doesn't matter. You know, prison has definitely changed my outlook and perspective on a lot of things. You know, and it's helped me to become a more patient and understanding person, dealing with all of the different personalities that are here. Because you have people that have mental problems, and you have people that have drug problems and drug addicts, and so you're thrown into this environment where you have to make good decisions, and everybody needs a little guidance. You know, I need guidance. Some of the new people that just come in need the guidance, and we get that by you know, making sure we surround ourselves with these positive people and like-minded people who that have a vision to get out of prison. They don't want to run around and sell drugs or do drugs or do violence. They're on a path to make sure that they work their way out of prison, not stay in prison. So once you surround yourself by people like that, that changes your perspective too. You want to keep being like them and working. The main goal is to work yourself out. And it just kind of breaks my heart a little bit when I hear somebody say, "Oh yeah, this is like my 4th term in here, and you know, I'm going to get out again, and you know, hopefully I can stay out." And I'm like, 4th term? You didn't learn it on the 1st or 2nd term that, you know, you didn't get it right then, and you got to keep coming back? I just like to give these youngsters a little bit of wisdom that I have, and if it's not worth it, whatever you're doing out there, prison is not worth, you know, coming back to. This is not the life for somebody. You know, you have family out there, you have kids to hug, you've got, you know, a better way of life than what prison has to offer.
Absolutely.
So yeah, long story, answer your question. Yeah, prison should change just about everybody.
Right. Absolutely.
Especially if you're in there long enough. I think the longer you're in there, the more impact it's going to have on you, because as Correll was saying earlier, a lot of people didn't know how to take us coming off the death row. They were afraid of us. They thought they didn't know what to think about us. They thought we were all wild animals and we would blow off at the drop of a hat. But we had been down so long where we appreciated just being out. We appreciated walking in a yard with grass. We appreciated seeing the moon and stars at night. We appreciated not having a gunner point his gun at us and walking around in cuffs and being escorted around everywhere in our underwear. We had a great sense of appreciation when we got out of death row and went to the main line. So we became more of a model, and staff started realizing that, hey, these death row guys, we don't have problems with these guys. They're more tranquil, calm section.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Than the rest of the population. So we're getting a little recognition. They're realizing that, we're trying to work our way out, and we come from a long ways. From death row to level 2 is a huge step.
Right.
So,
It says a lot.
So we just want to keep doing good for those of us that are trying to work our way out, and show the society, so the community, that we can be productive members of the society if we're allowed to get back out there.
Absolutely.
Who's on the phone now? Is it Correll?
Correll is on the phone. Yeah, absolutely. Ramon has to call back. He got disconnected.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of curious of what kind of things they got going on over there right now, Donovan.
Yeah, and Correll, Gina says hello. Gina's here.
Hey.
She said free Correll, Tom. You have your own fan club here.
What kind of
Those are my peeps.
what
They
are
show
some of the
up.
things you guys are doing
They
over there
actively
right
show
now
up for
on the yard? Like as far as not just the groups that you guys attend, but you guys have like a little team that you guys you guys network. I know Josh has been trying to get a few things going as well right there. What are some of the things that you guys have been trying to put together over there?
Well, I tell you, man, what I noticed right off the bat is that we're
Are you good?
excuse me.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's going in and out. So what I noticed is that they really, in the beginning, they really didn't want to give us much of anything, and they wanted to keep us in the, let us out here, but, make it as minimal as possible. They didn't want to give us jobs. They didn't want to give us self-help programs. They didn't want to give us much of anything. Matter of fact, they want to keep us they want to keep us A2B. And for those that don't know, it's just basic program. We got to come in before it's dark or something like that. We have no night program and all that kind of stuff. But we broke through that. And I heard a little bit of what Ramon was saying at the end about, we've been displaying this model type behavior, and we are becoming the ones that the administration and
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
They're turning towards us to lead the way, for some of the young people coming in and out of prison, and even some of the older guys that's been here who's, having disciplinary problems, So we're breaking ground now. One of the things I ran into was, I became a part of the LWAP Alliance while here. Right. And, I respect the LWAP Alliance, the group, but while I respect the LWAP Alliance, I'm already armed with so much information as far as where we stand, where they stand, where we stand. You know, it was imperative for me to step back away from there because, you know, this death penalty thing is here. We're here. You know, so we're creating our own group, and while participating in other groups, we're trying to break into our own group. We have a pretty decent curriculum that we're putting together, Ramon and myself, as well as another guy, Ika Mulu. And I've been successful at creating what's called Positive Affirmation Road. And this is a road that goes from the gate to our yard all the way down to the mental health hole and the regular hole. And I spoke with the warden personally about this, and I got his approval to get it painted on a big wall, Positive Affirmation Road, and we're going to use some of the bricks to put positive affirmations from incarcerated people as well as staff. And we're just trying to be something different, bridge this gap in communication with the administration as well as telephone number will be monitored and recorded. We've been successful in navigating a little bit, but we're still knocking the doors down for ourselves. You know, we don't want to be behind no one. You know, we're creating our own lane right now, and it's working.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's like you said earlier, it's that it's about establishing that communication. Like, you know, we spent years fighting the system. You know, we come into the system and we don't want to take full responsibility, accountability. We want to, it's a matter of perception. We want to see ourselves as... This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. We develop this mindset that, okay, they see us as animals, so I'm going to respond in a way that, okay, I'm going to be an animal to get what I want from you. And, you know, I can identify with that because, you know, being out here and then finally going through the change and the transformation and wanting to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because it's expected of you, right? You realize that you have to, there's only one, I always say, kill them with kindness, right? Like, you know, because you're always going to have some of this staff, this administration that are anti this. You guys have nothing coming. You're not going to do this. But you know what? I'm going to make it to where you can't refuse to see me shine just because of the fact that I'm going to shine. So I'm going to make do with what I have, whether you give it to me or not. I don't care if it's having a meeting in the day room, a Gogi Group meeting, a AA meeting, like you said, LWAP Lifers Alliance meeting, like, because when they see that cultural change, that it's not conditional where, okay, these guys are only doing this because it serves their condition. Like, that's the beauty of it, is you guys are talking about coming together and cultivating from the ground up support teams. Like, you guys are supporting each other. Don't give them no kind of reason to not recognize your guys' shine, right? Because it's undeniable.
Right.
We've talked about, you know, you and Ramon have said time and time again, if you're living it, it's going to come out. They can see it. They have no, you know, they can't deny you of that. And it's just the way that we're living in. And I think that's...
And here's the thing. I would like to add this. You know, here's the thing. You know, and you know how it is with life skill classes, RAC credits, milestone credits, you know, and all these things.
Right.
Getting time off and all that. We don't get none of that. That's not available to us. So everything that we're doing is for us, for the change, to be better.
Yeah.
so that when that time comes, because that time will come, I never want to be put in a situation to where I would end up behind bars, getting handcuffs put on me. I don't deserve that. You know, and so this is not for a board. You know, this change, you know, and I want to be perfectly clear about this. This is sincere. This change is not for board. This change is not for good time off. This change is not for credit. We don't get none of that. You know, it's not available to us. So this change is for us. And some people, some guys, like you were asking about some of the guys that came down who's not quite there or not even close to being there or not even, some guys are not quite there, some guys are not close to being there or not even on that road. You know, to them be their way and to us be ours. You know, I can only show and lead by example. You know, I can't force no one to change. You know, and after all we've been through, and after all the state-sponsored murders that we've seen, after the murders on the yard, after the riots, and
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I know you understand what I'm saying, but for the people, you know, people are really dying in prison. You know, I mean, they were strapping guys down and injecting their veins with poison until they were dead. And then the next day it's resume program, you know, get back to it until the next one. And so having an opportunity to come down here, to be on the main line, to be here at Donovan, to be around other people, you know, this is for me personally, I look at my program as a way of giving back. You know, I work in the kitchen. I go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning every morning. I don't get paid for that. I'm not getting paid for it. I mean, they got pay numbers. They're supposed to pay us and all this kind of stuff. But I'm volunteering to do this because of my change, because of who I am today. I volunteer, you know, so that I can be of service to others in any way that I can. That's the way that I can right now. That's the way that I'm doing it right now. And when I find a bigger way to be able to do it, you know, I'll do it in a bigger way. You know, but this change is genuine. You know, it's not for likes or it's not for attention or for none of that. It's for life.
I think
if I could answer that, if I could go back to the question, Keith, about what are these guys doing down here with IC? Being part of the IPEP, the Integrated Peer Health Education Program, here with John Marvin, the death row guys who participate in all these classes, I don't want to take away from the other individuals in the class saying that they don't have depth or understand what we're talking about. But our fellow death row inmates here have a depth of knowledge and understanding that is, like Correll says, guiding these other individuals and showing them. And Correll had mentioned Amulu. We just got done with the active listening and anger management cohort. We ran for 8 weeks. Amulu came out of the box, and he is just profound in the way that he can articulate this material. And these gentlemen haven't been doing self-help groups for 10 years like some of us have. And it's just extraordinary to watch them pick up on the material and be able to articulate it to others. And they have blended in and been the backbone. And as lifers and LWOPs in prison, as we well know, those are the backbone. Those are the backbones of prison, right? We make prison function. They are part of that now. Just because they're here doesn't mean that they're not contributing. And these gentlemen will contribute, like Correll says. They don't need to be paid. They do it out of the kindness of their heart. Our yard crew, our porters, we have Correll. If I know he can't hear me, but I would like to know what the total death row inmate population here is on this specific yard, and they contribute in so many different ways. But those that are hungry for the self-help, and even Ramon can articulate things in a way that I can't. So they're all giving their own. They're giving back in ways that maybe I can't get through to a person in class, facilitating the class, and Amulu and Correll facilitate as well. So it's perspective, right? We see things through different lenses, and their lens that they are seeing these things through is one of empathy, compassion, and understanding, which is extraordinary when you think of how their mindset works. They're not letting the death penalty define them, and they give back on a daily basis to those around them in ways that are just awesome to watch. Keith, you had asked what the population is like here and how they are. They are the most docile, easygoing, respectful, and when they walk outside, they live in a kingdom of freedom from where they came from. So I myself haven't seen any even forms of aggression from
will be monitored and recorded.
the natural population that I interact with. So I want to put that out there that they contribute in these classes, and it's kind of even for me, it takes me back and I sit back and to hear them speak, and it's really, really interesting to see how other people interact with them. That's what I see happening as far as giving back in the time frame that they have come from death row to here in such a short time. And you know what I mean, Keith? Some of us, it took a lot of years to get some of this stuff into my brain anyway, to take foot. And these gentlemen have already internalized a lot of the material, and they pick it up really, really fast and are able to articulate it not only in their own words, but so others can, they can foster that growth in others too. And it's an awesome thing to watch.
This call and your telephone will be monitored and recorded.
Population there right now.
Oh, we didn't hear you. You were working over with somebody else.
What is the population of death row inmates right now on that facility alone?
I usually have been keeping pretty good track of it for a while, especially for the first core group that came of us pilot program guys. But now we're here. More guys are coming from other yards and other prisons. And just for our yard here itself, I'm going to guess maybe 25, maybe 30 of us here on this yard. I don't know, maybe Correll could correct me if I'm wrong, but it's getting to be a pretty sizable contingency of people that we are known, we're familiar with, and we kind of have this little brotherhood of the guys that we used to spend decades with. They're all here with us now.
Okay. So is there like a committee from Sacramento that's going to do like an assessment or an evaluation? Like, do they come at it like, or do they have like any kind of particular interest, like as far as, I think I asked a question before, were you guys part of the Triple CMS program? Like, just because of the fact that you came off the road, do you guys deal a lot with mental health?
On the row,
Oh, he has to call back, and we're waiting on Correll also.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious because it took me a lot of years. Like Mark, it literally took me almost 20-something, 30 years just to finally admit that I needed to, talk to the mental health clinicians. Like, because it's imperative. It's I always deemed myself this strong individual.
Mm-hmm.
You know, physically and mentally, I suffered with severe depression. I spent a lot of years in isolation as well, so I battled with depression a lot.
Right.
So once I did start talking to mental health, I realized that it was because there's a stigma on individuals on the main lines on NGP going to mental health because it's perceived as weakness, like weak-mindedness. But I would imagine because of their situation, I'm wondering if Sacramento CDCR headquarters is like doing like an evaluation, like periodically checking on them, because eventually their end goal is to do away with the death penalty completely. This is like a pilot program that gets them out and to basically prove that they are redeemable, you know. So I'm wondering if there's like a team from Sacramento that comes down or any kind of triple CMS clinicians that, you know, periodically evaluate them and do sit downs with them.
Well, we have Correll is back with us.
Okay.
I heard part of it, I think.
Correll.
Are you asking if they have clinicians that come down and check on us?
Yeah, I know that, I understand you guys are back on the line. I know it's not guaranteed that they did away with the death penalty, but I know the end goal is to do away with the death penalty altogether. And this is a chance to prove that you guys can be housed amongst the regular population. And not only that, is that you guys are redeemable. Is there Sacramento, is there like a committee that will evaluate you guys periodically, or are you guys part of the Triple CMS program? Or you guys just basically left out there on your own? Like, I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, believe it or not, we're just left out on our own. When we went to Cincinnati, it was amazing how some of the other guys, you know, on the line were saying to us,
you have a prepaid call.
If anyone needed to be screened, it should have been us coming off death row, coming from that isolated program for so many years. You know, we should have been screened by mental health, and we weren't. We were basically, you know, taken from a situation where you have, like I said before, a exercise yard about the size of half of a basketball court, with up to 100 guys assigned to that small space. You know, and we were dropped off in a, you know what the yards look like, a huge yard with 500-600 guys out there, and we were just thrust out there.
Your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Pretty much, you know, told to fend for ourselves. So no, we don't have mental health checking on us. We're not a part of Triple CMS or EOP or none of that. Now you do have condemned residents that are Triple CMS and EOP and all that. They're housed somewhere else, you know, where they have that type of program. But as far as us, you know, those are the guys who were being screened by mental health in San Quentin on death row. Those guys, I believe, continue to be screened by mental health. But for those of us who weren't, we're not, unless, you know, you signal you need some mental health assistance.
Wow.
Yeah. It was kind of,
it would only seem obvious that you guys would be screened, like, just based on the transition alone. Like, that's just.
Okay, we're back on.
Like, I don't even. It's not a matter of that's or not. It's the fact based on the transition. Like, that's just mind-boggling. Really proud.
Yeah, that's what, you know, and yeah, I mean, so everything is learned on the fly and sink or swim. You know, or being a survivor of many things. I'm a keep swimming. So I'm gonna make it.
That's great.
Yeah. Wow.
And Correll, real quick, Cheryl's here also. She says hi. Yeah, Cheryl's here. I just had that question. Is there any more questions? Do we have any more questions? I'm waiting to see. And Keith, cousin Shannon said hi.
Oh, Shanny.
She's here like she is every time you're live with me. She's here every week with us. Let's see. I'm trying to scroll.
I wanted to, if I could, go ahead and piggyback off of what Correll was saying regarding the mental health and the triple CMS.
Yes.
CDCR or the system kind of, just threw us out, like Correll said, out into this vast land of, our yards, instead of being half the size of a basketball court, they're like 4 to 5 acres of this open expanse. And, we went from 60,
This call
70
and your
guys
telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
to 500, 600 guys. So they just threw us out there, and they didn't really put too much thought into the little things that were a major issue for us. We lived for decades in a very small cell by ourselves, and then we get here in the main line, and they just want to throw anybody in the cell with us, even though we've never had cellies before. And that can be pretty traumatic when you get somebody that doesn't want to conform to regulations, and they want to do drugs, and they want to be disruptive in a very small environment. And none of us are used to that kind of thing. So some of that, it was really testing our patience, and it was rough. And regarding the mental health thing also, for the guys that I know who were in it, you were only seen once every 3 months. And a lot of stuff can go through your head trying to acclimate to this new environment. And I've had several family members die, and then we've had people that we've known as friends in the prison system that have died from either, overdose or COVID-19. And so I myself have seeked out sometimes a psychiatrist or a clinician that would walk the tears on death row just to talk. And sometimes it's very cathartic just to get something off your chest. But as for the system,
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
They don't really, cater to some of those things that I think that they should. It's overlooked, or I don't know what their issues are. It's just, we come from a place where people can get executed, state-sanctioned murder one night, and we're all sent out to the yard to have a
This
regular
call
day of
and your
program the next
telephone
day,
number will be monitored and recorded.
without the consideration that, hey, my friend was just killed last night on a gurney, or my friend just died of an overdose. So once in a while, it's good to seek out the clinician and just talk to them, even if you're not even in the program. That is still very helpful for somebody's psyche and sanity.
One of the craziest things about what Ramon said is that you can have a suicide on death row, can have an overdose on death row, or you can have someone murdered on the yard on death row, and they will offer counseling for the staff, the officers.
Right.
Oh.
And we just be locked in ourselves. You know, we're just be locked in ourselves, made to deal with it. You know, and I thought that was kind of strange. You know, that would happen like that.
Yes, absolutely.
We're just kind of warehoused. We're just kind of warehoused in there and forgot about, especially on death row. We're locked in. No matter what happens inside or outside, we got to deal with it on our own. So it can be very trying to the mind and, you know, to the mental faculties there. It's just you got to be strong. You got to be mentally strong. Or you can do like a lot of former friends that I've lost, and they weren't mentally strong, and they hung themselves, or they purposely overdosed themselves because it just gets to be too much.
So I do have a question from in the chat. It says, what kind of relationships do you form with other inmates in prisons? And with other inmates and prison staff?
Well, it's like anything, I think. Even if you're out on the streets, you know, you gravitate to those that are like-minded, that you have something in common with, that are like-minded, that you have something in common with, and you get along with them. And then there's others that are off on the path of their own, what looks maybe like self-destruction and violence. And so, you know, there are a few that we gravitate to. And one of those guys is Josh. He's been very helpful, very considerate, and he's been a real leader to, you know, kind of show us what path to go on too. And as for the staff, that's the same also, because you got some that seem like what we want to call inmate haters, where they just hate anything about an inmate, and they're real picky, and they want to write you up for the slightest little thing, and they find a way to be petty and to mess with you, to irritate you and aggravate you. And then you got the ones that, you know, are like, hey, they treat you almost like
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Wish you to have a good day, and they may be your supervisor in whatever work position that you have, so you get along with them pretty well. So you find your path, and you find the different ones. Some of the officers that.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And they have problems with, they seem to get along well with other incarcerated persons. So it's kind of a crapshoot regarding staff.
I was going to say something like that. Yeah, I was going to say something. At the end of the day, it's like forming a relationship with, you know, friendships and all this kind of thing in prison with other incarcerated people. You know, it's just like when you have a heart, you reaching out, you know, and it's a lot of people don't look at it like that, but we all want to connect. We all want to trust somebody. We all want to be friendly. You know, we all want to share, but you can't do that. You know, and you never know who you're talking to. You know, these are a bunch of men, and I'm speaking on death row and in prison in general. A bunch of men pulled over from all over California, and some of the guys are from.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Got arrested in California, and we put in this one place you know, and we're trying to, you got people who try to forge friendships, you know, with other inmates, and it seems like with the inmates, you can find
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and
on death
recorded.
row, you know, in some instances, because they understand what we're up against. But then the staff over there, you know, is living in this or working in this high stress assignment environment, and it's like the Stanford experiment, an experiment that was set to go on for 2 weeks, where they took half of the class and made them correct.
Okay, we lost Correll for now. He'll call back.
Yeah, this transition from death row, though, to mainline, it's been real eye-opening for me because when we left death row, and like Correll said, we stopped off in Centinela first before we came on over here to San Diego. I was literally shocked every time the announcement over the PA system would say, you know, inmate so-and-so, Johnson, roll it up, you're going home. Inmate Martinez, you're paroling today. And I had to do a double take. I'm like, that's something I've never heard before, because on death row, people just die there, like we talked about. The overdoses, the suicides, the executions. You never, ever heard those words about.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
And paroling. So those kind of things, just hearing that you're in an environment where people are actually going home and getting paroled, just hearing those words were motivation to find the right path to get on, to do the right thing, because someday, some way, that is something that I wanted myself, just to go home, to get parole. In death row, you don't hear that. So yeah, it's even just the littlest things of hearing an announcement like that can just really change your mental state, and it gives you hope, it gives you motivation and inspiration.
Absolutely. You're here by yourself right now. No, no, nobody's here. Okay, let me get these phones. You'll have to call back.
This is Global Tel-Link. You have a prepaid call from
Absolutely, Shannon.
An individual at the R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid
Josh should be with Jamie. He still should be here.
Pay or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Okay, Correll, it's just me and you. They have to call back.
Okay, so pretty much I was just saying that, you know, on the upper level, death row, you know, you have to, the selection of individuals for you to choose from is small, and you have to be mindful that there are no secrets in prison. And so it's hard to, you want to trust somebody because you're in the same situation. However, everyone's not going in the same direction. So you can't trust no one. And then as far as the staff, the interaction is so bad. It's rare that you have someone on death row working as a staff member who's going to treat you like a human.
The R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California.
Their job to punish us, you know? And so I remember reading this article that came out in the New Yorker, and they were talking about this this prison spokesman on death row. And he said some things in this article that made a lot of sense. For instance, anytime they would call you, you know, to go to medical visit or yard, they will call over a PA system, call your name, your cell number, and then they say, get up, get dressed,
San Diego, California,
and prepare.
And your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
They will say the word prepare for, and then whatever it is you're going, and wherever it is you're going. And I would listen to this, and I kept catching the word prepare, and I wondered for years, why would they, it was like, no matter if it was a new officer or old officer, an officer working the desk for the day, they all had this script. And when I read the article, he explained in the article why they say that, the word prepared. And so his reasoning was they were preparing us for death. They were dimming our light. And those were the words that he used. They were dimming our light and preparing us for death. So they would use that term every time they called us to go somewhere. When we transferred to Centinela, they didn't want us there at all. You know, the staff, they didn't, the officers all the way up to the captain did not want us there at all. And they made it really hard for us. The warden accepted us. But from the warden on down, I mean, the captains and the lieutenants and the sergeants and the correctional officers, they did not want us there. So they made it really hard. You know, they treated us like, they tried to treat us like we were animals. You know, and this was the first taste of mainline. And everything was political, you know, stick with your people and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, you learn rules and all that kind of stuff. And here, that was level 3. Coming down to level 2, it's a whole different vibe. Officers are more friendly here, you know, and more approachable, and they talk to you with respect. And it's not just because we're on death row. This is just what it is, you know, and you would have to actually go out of your way from what I'm observing personally. You have to go out of your way to get yourself in trouble here. You know, okay. But there are guys that bend the rules and get themselves in trouble here.
Did he drop off?
No. Correll, you're still here.
Speaking of officers, I just wanted to add in this little thing about how the officers are in comparison for the ones on death row. And you had the occasional ones that seemed like they had a little bit of humanity and a little bit of sympathy. But then you got other ones that were just saying, why are we doing this for these guys? You know, they're death row guys. They shouldn't be allowed to have these kind of amenities and this kind of food and these kind of packages, you know. And so it was really harsh. And you had the mixture of those kind of guys up there. And some of them were female officers that had that same type of mindset. And I know I used to work as the disciplinary clerk for the captain. I was one of the few death row inmates that was allowed out of my cell where I could go to a designated area and type paperwork and memos. And I was very fortunate for that position. And it was luckily because I had skills in the clerical skills that I'd taken in school before I ended up in prison. But some of these officers are really strict and really petty, and they started writing up the incarcerated persons for contraband for the simplest little things like a paperclip or the small metal clasp that was on the back of those manila envelopes. They would write those guys up for that stuff and just call it contraband.
Wow.
So it was completely ridiculous. And then, you know, I come here, speaking for myself personally, I got a job working for a place called Plant Ops. It's the prison maintenance department. And these guys, they're giving me a skill saw. They're giving me an electric drill, a grinder. We walk around unsupervised with shovels and pickaxes, for God's sake. And I ride around on a little electric golf cart. And I often say to myself, am I really supposed to be doing this stuff? Because this stuff doesn't fly in San Quentin. But because I'm allowed to have these things, to work with these tools and these implements, and I'm given this responsibility by my supervisors, it gives me this overwhelming feeling that, you know, hey, they're treating me more like a human being now, a trustworthy human being, than some animal that can't be trusted with a paperclip.
And recorded.
So yeah, the change from death row to mainline, it affects us all in just little different ways, and it could be in the way somebody says something to us, in the way that we're allowed to do our jobs, or the tools that we're responsible for. It really works on a person's inner self, and I find growth in that, no matter how small it is.
Yeah, I like that. And I like what you said about just the fact that they're willing to put that. When you feel trustworthy like that, you know, for a lot of us that do want to do the right thing like that, it makes you want to be that much more accountable, self-accountable, because that's that level of integrity. Because, you know, the fact that somebody's willing to treat you human in any aspect is something that you're not used to. So it's more valuable to guys like us, because the fact that somebody's willing to entrust you with something, whether it's even the smallest of things, like you said, coming out of your cell to type up a memo, or just have responsibility. It's, you know, for a lot of us, we hadn't had that in so long.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
That those things are more meaningful to us than,
That's one thing that a lot of people, even I think on the main line that's been here for years and decades, some of that stuff is even taken for granted for them also, because they have never been as restricted and
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Restricted and isolated, and as we were. So every little bitty thing just means a whole lot more to us, and that's why we appreciate this environment more than some of the other people that just come in here off the streets, or the people who are doing their second or third or fourth term. They know they're here for a short time, and they are still in their bad ways of doing things, and are not here to learn, to get better, to make that change. Whereas you spend 20, 30, 40 years on the row, boy, you really want to get out of prison. You don't ever want to see this place again.
Yeah.
They give me the opportunity to get out. I'm gone. I'm probably leaving the United States. I got a nice little place waiting for me over in Europe, you know, Germany, Holland. You know, I'm gone. See you later.
Well, it's like the old saying goes, you don't know what you got till it's gone. And I've seen, you know, after 32 years, I've seen guys come back, like you said, 5, 6 times, and you're like, wow, like here you are fighting I'm fighting for my life to get out of here, and these guys are fighting to get in. And it's sad, but you know, it's like you said, it's you don't know what you got till it's gone. And you know, those little freedoms, you know, when you don't have them no more, you know, it changes your whole mindset. What about college access? You guys have equal access to college classes?
I've never taken any of them until I got down here on the main line. And We have Southwestern College has been coming in here. It's a local community college. It's just a few miles away. We've had our first in-person classes just last year started here. And then, of course, people who are familiar with Coastline, it is classes that are done on laptops through the limited Wi-Fi internet system. And I started taking 2, 3, 4 different classes each semester. So I'm over halfway through my degree. And I just started doing this about a year and a half ago, maybe, about a year and a half ago, I guess. So I'm learning a lot. There's a lot of things that I've been a long time that I had learned. I took a statistics course, and they're talking all of this algebra and trig and all of this stuff in this statistics course, and the instructor says, I know it's been about 4 or 5 years since you guys had any math, so I know it's going to come a little hard for you, but it'll come back to you. And I raised up my hand and I said, how about 45 years since I've been to school? And he started laughing, and he said, okay, some of you have been out of school a little longer than the others. But I ended up getting a really, really good grade, and that kind of motivated me to say, hey, if I've been out of school that long, I said, if I can do that on a class I was ready to drop out of, I'm going to continue on and get my degree. And so I've been steadily doing that ever since.
What about you, Correll?
For me,
Three-way call.
for me, it's been a little different. It's been a little different for me. I enrolled in college. Well, first of all, when I got off, when we came off death row and we went to Cincinnati, they had me on the waiting list for Imperial Valley College. You know, we have to be on the waiting list. So I sat on that waiting list the whole time I was at.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
And then when I came over here, I got accepted into Southwest College and or Southwestern College, and I was excited. I was so excited. I chose 3 classes: psychology, business, and the third one was health and nutrition. And I'm excited. I get my laptop. I get my books. I'm about ready to start. And the class started on February 10th, and I got picked up to go to court February 10th.
Wow.
So I had to drop out of the class because I was at court. And so the coordinator tells me, okay, we'll start in May. You know, I think it was May 22nd or something like that. And then I went to court May 27th. I mean, I left to go to court May 27th. My court date was May 30th.
He has to call back. Got disconnected.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
That's how it is. It took me almost 4 years just to get to get a fluid program. Just to get my first associate's degree took me 2.5, 3 years. Just because waiting on classes, things change. You know, it's just like Ramon said, earlier, that's one thing about prison is you never anticipate that game's going to run easily every day because there's a curveball.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Yeah, you like they say in the old, what is that, the Big Brother house, expect the unexpected.
That's right.
You can't really, you can't depend on anything.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Have some patience that eventually you're going to get it done. Might take you a little bit longer than you anticipated, but it's hopefully going to work out for you one way or the other. Just got to have that patience and that self-motivation and that endurance to hang on and hold on to it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people get discouraged when when they have young people too. Because they anticipate this system, a lot of things with this system, unfortunately, are designed like that, where they feel like, just like filing a grievance about an issue, like it might get denied on that first level, because a lot of people, it's designed to do that, because it discourages a lot of people from pursuing it. So it's just being persistent and having that fight, like you said, like that fight. No matter what, you know what your end goal is, you know.
And it just hung up on Ramon also. So we're waiting for both of them now. It looks like it's going to go on you also.
Well, we still got Josh on the line.
Yep, we still have Josh.
We still got Josh here.
Yep. Yeah, Josh is there.
They can hear you, Josh.
We can hear him.
Oh, I missed the last.
As well, Josh has been serious about calling quite some time as well.
I didn't hear that.
No, he said you've been pretty serious about. You've been going to college, right?
Yes, I earned my AA last year, so this year I'm taking craft or arts, and a couple of other things. Some classes I needed to make up just for my own personal mindset. I didn't get such stellar grades, so yes, I like to do it because it keeps our minds straight, you know, keeps them sharp. The college here, because I already have a degree, they allow me certain classes that others don't need, because they're striving for their AA. So I agree with that, you know. I don't want to stand in the way of somebody else achieving that goal as well. As soon as they offer the bachelor's program, they have a bachelor's program, UC Irvine up on Echo Yard. They're also trying to bring here as well. So if they bring a bachelor's here, I will have to go for a bachelor's in sociology, which I'm not too keen on, but anything for knowledge, you know. So, and we have a relatively small yard. We are probably one of the only yards in the state where we have 2 ad techs. So there's only 3 buildings. So we only have 450 people on the yard period. So, you know, it's a whole different culture here, as, you know, Correll and Ramon can speak to, as well as even when we talk about the death row population here. If we have 30 people, we only have about 430 people on the yard. So what is that, about 12% of the population? I mean, realistically. So, you know, well, a little less than that, maybe 8%, you know. So it is unique. It's unique here because there's only 3 buildings.
Oh, okay.
And which a lot of the death row population is enrolled in that. It is interesting, to say the least, being a life inmate and seeing how these guys are striving for the same thing we are. Ultimately, it's freedom, but we're striving for that personal inner freedom. And that comes through knowledge and educating ourselves about ourselves and those around us, and try to give us the life skills and enjoyable back into the community. You know, it's a journey, and our education is just one part of that journey. You know, when I hear Ramon talk about using a skill saw and having the responsibilities that even most in prison and don't know how to use these tools per se in the real world, let alone have that opportunity here, and then come from death row and they're putting a skill saw in your hand. I kind of chuckle about it, but it is. It's something that, like he said, you don't know what you have until it's gone.
Yeah, I agree.
Is Keith going too? Is Keith coming back?
Keith is back now. Keith is back.
I'm back on.
We're all back.
Okay.
Everyone's back right now.
Oh, okay. My bad. I didn't hear that he was back.
Yeah, everyone's back now.
Okay.
You have a question from the listener?
Let's see. Do we have any other questions? We don't have any questions right now.
Did you catch mine, Marge, earlier?
Yeah, I did ask that. They answered. Yep. Yeah.
Just making sure.
Go ahead.
Add something since there's no questions out there. I just want to thank those people who are listening who provided some of those numbers for and contacts for some of those attorneys that we are in desperate need of. And that's, I thank you from the bottom of my soul. That's something that is real pressing for a lot of us. And I'm definitely contacting all those numbers that I was given. And if there's anyone else out there that can offer any kind of assistance in that manner, it would.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Yes, actually, that was Lauren. She's actually on vacation. That's my my mod and my dear friend. She's on vacation this week. I can't wait till she gets back. But I also have another one. I want to get you her number. She's actually an attorney.
Monitored and recorded.
She's actually an attorney on the app. So I'll get that for you though. I want to touch base with her. But yeah, that was actually Lauren who got all that information for you. Yep.
Oh, good. No, that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, a lot of us, myself included, was sitting in here languishing, and we're in limbo and stagnated because the state doesn't have any attorneys, and they don't have the money to pay the attorneys, and
This call and your
we
telephone
want
number will be monitored
our
and
day in
recorded.
court. So we
Absolutely.
can go forward with this thing. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for that. That's a step in a direction that we haven't been able to step for a long time.
And if anyone else has any other contacts for attorneys or any other help we can get, please reach out to me. You know where I am every day, twice a day. And you could always inbox me, message me. Everyone knows how to reach me.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I totally appreciate having you guys. I'm serving 5 consecutive life sentences, but at the same time, just hearing your stories, and it's humbling to me as well. It really puts my situation into perspective. I've been out here programming for years. I'm going on 16 years disciplinary free. It took me a lot of years to start getting it together in here. With the wife and kids and beautiful friends and family, but
And your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
it's humbling because it puts my life in perspective. It makes me value even the simplest of things, because I see the fight in you guys, and the fight, it's inspiring, it's inspirational to hear the fight in you guys that Black did, just for which you guys were no different than any of us. So, like I said, I appreciate you guys being possibly. And if there's anything that we could possibly do, even in the future, whether it's now or years from now, just know that this platform is, you guys have bonded with a family as well on Charge with Change, and together I know that there's a lot more hearts and eyes open that we can come together, and not just for you guys, but the people around you as well. So we just appreciate you. I'm honored to have met you guys. In short, I'm honored to have met you guys.
The feeling is mutual, likewise, and we appreciate all that you guys are doing and allowing us to reach out and let the people hear our stories. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Oh, absolutely. And Correll?
Yes, ma'am. I definitely thank you guys, and it's nice meeting you, Keith. Myself, what I wanted to say a little bit earlier is I am in court now. Mm-hmm. I have a court date of August 22nd.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
East County, and I'm unrepresented. And I also need representation. And the judge is telling me I'm entitled to representation, and they're trying to find me representation. However, there is no representation. And so I will be at court August 22nd, to speak and hope to receive representation so I can get these issues out there and get this thing changed the way it's supposed to be and be free, as I should. I thank you guys for allowing us to come onto the platform and share our stories and give the real, and this is coming from, guys that really live on death row. Not TV, not a record label. We're talking about San Quentin State Prison, where they were killing people. And, we tell our story, and we tell this story, and we tell our story with ease. But at the end of the day, it's real. It's real. It's a real situation. And a lot of people look at us like Keith was just saying, how strong we are, to be able to live this experience and continue moving forward in a positive direction. The reason for that is just straight truth. We don't want to die. We don't want to die. Yeah. We don't want to be murdered.
That's right.
And someone had a question earlier, and I didn't get a chance to really expound on it about, it was something about the change, I believe, the change or something like that. For us, it's like, this is real. Every day is a new experience. Mm-hmm. Not, like I said, I got arrested at 22 and a half years old. 22 years, not knowing much of anything. Think about a 22-year-old, and I think the person was saying, did this change us? Would we have the same outlook if we, didn't go to prison and all that? At some point, you have to grow up. At some point, mm-hmm. you either become wise or you die. And the lifestyle, the environment, the urban neighborhood that I came from, and the people around, it was either at some point I was going to wise up and realize that I was in a hole, or I was going to die. And so, for me, ever since conception, it's been a long fight for life, to survive. And this was another fight. This is another fight for me to survive. So I'm thankful to be able to tell this to the people, and the reason why I speak about how easy it is, it's not easy.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
People look at it as being easy, but this is hard as hell. You know, we tell these stories and people, you know, even out here on these yards, you know,
You have 60 seconds remaining.
we're admired by some, you know, hated by some, but at the end of the day, like I said before, this change is for us. It's not for to get released early. It's not for to go to board. It's not for court. It's not for credit. This change is real, and it had to be done. So I thank you again, and I really do appreciate everybody on here. I appreciate the team, Marge, Keith's wife, you know, Ramon, Josh. You know, I really appreciate all of you, and I thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I have information to send you also on attorneys. I will do that after I'm done here. And then we have to touch base
And if
also.
And if you can, try to resend that thing that you sent to Josh, because sometimes if you don't send, it gets approved the first time. Sometimes the second time around, it will.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I could try that also. Yeah, I'll try it again. I'll do it again as soon as I end this. We'll try it again.
Or we'll just all run over to Josh's house and make him do hard copies for us.
Yeah, because he said he was gonna share it, but you know what? If I'm gonna try it again. You know, it was just like I said. Josh got it, but you guys didn't. And I don't get it, but I'm gonna try it again. No biggie. Oh wait, we got both. We have Keith and Correll calling back. So before we go,
The Pleasant Valley State Prison, Coalinga, California. This call and
I'm telling you, I need a switchboard. I try to lower them when you're all talking. I'm trying to like, and then I have to put it up again
Yeah.
so we can hear everyone. Here we go. We're back again.
And your telephone number will be monitored and
There we go.
recorded. You have 60 seconds remaining.
Now
And
it's
yeah,
my turn.
and yeah, it's your turn. You could call back real quick.
All right.
All right.
Let me get back to you.
Okay.
Just so we can close it out and say our goodbye.
Okay. Yeah, so Correll, I do have some information for you, and then I will resend the flyer that I have for people to reach out to you
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
that I made. Yeah, I did make that, and everything is the free Correll, the t-shirts and the hoodies. They are on my website. You could it's linked in my link tree. I have that, and I also have how you can reach out to Correll, Ramon, and Josh. That's also linked in my link tree. I did send it to Josh. It wouldn't. I couldn't send it to Correll, and I did send it to them. They wouldn't accept it. I'm gonna resend that again, and we'll see if it goes through this time, Correll. If not, Josh has it.
Yeah, we'll be on them.
Yeah,
That's my buddy right there. I really appreciate Josh. We talk every day.
I know.
This is
It's
Global
nice to
South.
be able to connect with somebody that's headed in the same direction. And it's hard to find people headed in the same direction. And it's someone you can trust. That's Josh. And and John Martin. You know, Mulu. You know, these are our people. And we are a team in here. And like Keith was asking about, you know, as far as the yard, we're pushing for this yard with a positive message. You know, we all have opportunities. We need to grasp these opportunities and do the best we can. Be the change you want to see in others. That's us. We're charged with change.
That's right. I love it.
Change, brother. Charge with change.
I love it.
Charge with change.
I love it. Yep.
We are definitely charged with change.
It's been so great having you guys on here again. We could absolutely do this again. It's been really good. I really enjoy this. I've had a few conversations with Correll actually.
I won't.
Go ahead, Jamie.
I just wanted to say to all of you guys, this is Keith's wife, Jamie. I just wanted to say thank you very much. This is a huge thing for our community out here to be able to hear your guys' story, your output, your opinions, your thing, everything that goes on in there with you guys. And just being able to know this knowledge. When I was younger, I used to always think, no, I'm never going to use math, or, oh, I'm not going to use that, so why do that? But I absolutely stand behind knowledge is power. Absolutely. And I just want to say thank you so much to all of you guys sharing your story.
Yeah. And they're saying thank you for sharing. To both of you guys, they're saying thank you.
Oh, they're very welcome.
Okay.
I mirror the sentiment. We appreciate that opportunity, and anytime that we can reach out and answer anybody's questions and give any kind of insight, we are definitely willing to do that.
All right, that sounds good. All right, well, Ramon, I will be in touch. I'm going to resend that to you in like a few minutes. So I will talk to you.
Okay, all right.
All right, well, thank
good night,
you.
everybody.
All right, good night.
Thanks for the listeners. Yeah, and God bless you, and be safe.
You too. All right, good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that's tonight. We're finished for tonight. That was a good live. That was a good live.